Hello everyone, my name is Vimal Raj. I'm a lecturer from the Mechanical Department from GEMS Polytechnic College. So today we're going to discuss from the subject Mechanical Engineering Material, that is 1625304. From according to the SPTE syllabus, we're going to discuss the first unit, and the topic that we're going to discuss is Types of Engineering Materials Part 1. Content of the lecture. So today we are going to discuss about types of engineering materials. So what is the types of engineering materials? So there are different types of engineering materials that are available. So basically engineering material is nothing but the material that we use for the purpose for the engineering. Or it could be a construction, or could be a electrical works, or could be a manufacturing works. So all those things comes under the engineering material. So whichever the thing that is being used to build, to do a manufacturing, to do creativity things, such kind of things are called the engineering materials. So which broadly engineering materials are classified as: first one is metals and alloys, polymers, composites. Last one is ceramics. So you could see the four types. So metal and alloy, polymer, composites, and ceramics. So these are the engineering material that is being used currently for the manufacturing process. So metal and alloys could be used in different manufacturing process, and polymers are used in different manufacturing process like plastics. All the things comes under the polymers, and composite is nothing but the combination of two different materials. That's a composite. And the ceramic, all we know that we use ceramic for all the toilet purposes, all those things, building of the toilets and cups and saucers, all those things are being done with this ceramic thing. The polymers are further classified into thermoplastic polymers, thermosetting polymers, elastomers. So these are the three types of polymers. So we will discuss all those things in the upcoming slides. So what is metal? So everybody know what is metal. A solid material, which is typically hard, shiny, malleable, fusible and ductile with good electrical and thermal conductivity. Example: iron, coal, silver and aluminium, and alloy such as steel. So these are the examples. So a solid material is nothing but which you can touch, you can feel it. When you hold it on your hands, it should be very solid or rigid. So which is typically hard, shiny. So it should be shiny, and it should be malleable, and it could be fusible and ductile. So everyone, I would just want to give you an meaning for the malleable, because some might not know what is malleable. Malleable is nothing but which can be able to hammered or pressed into a particular shape without breaking or cracking. So basically, if you take a metal, you can press it, you can hammer it, and you can make it as a knife. So that is the best example of malleable. So what is fusible? Fusible is nothing but which could be melted easily. So when you put heat on it, or when you put fire on it, wherein which you can melt it easily and you can make it any shape you want. So that is fusible. So ductile, the meaning for ductile is able to be deformed without losing toughness, liable, not brittle. That is, which can be turned into a thin wire without losing its toughness. So basically, you can make this metal into a iron wire, wherein which it should not lose its toughness or rigidity, and you can get the shape of the wire. So that is called the ductile, with good electrical and thermal conductivity. So the next point is it should be a good conductor of electricity. So basically it should have a good electrical and thermal conductivity. So that is called the metal. So these are the examples: iron, gold, silver, and aluminium, and alloys such as steel. So these are the metal. So wherein which these have this kind of properties like hard, shiny, malleable, fusible, ductile, with good electrical and thermal conductivity. See, we all know that all those things are easily capable of such properties. So this is an example of a metal, wherein which you can see this is a metal sheet. The next one is the alloy. So an alloy is a material composed of two or more metals, or a metal and a non-metal. So basically alloy is nothing but it is a material wherein which it will be composed of two or more metal. It could be two metal, or it could be two metal and one non-metal. It could be a metal and a non-metal. So that is a alloy. So it is a combination. So this is an example. So you could see a brass over here, a bronze is there, a metal sludge is there, steel is there, copper is there, aluminum is there, cast iron. So it's a mixture of two metals and a non-metal. So that is called the alloy. So it could be like this. So you could see that this is the molecule structure, when you could see that how the alloys are there. So metals and alloys are further classified as first one is ferrous, and next one is non-ferrous. So ferrous, it's further classified into steels, and steels are further classified into plain carbon steel, alloy steel. So in ferrous, it is further classified as to steels and cast iron. So in steel, it is classified as plain carbon steel, alloy steel, and in cast iron, it is classified into white cast iron, malleable cast iron, grey cast iron, SG cast iron, and chilled cast iron. So these are the different types of cast iron that are available in the market currently. So when you take ferrous is nothing but a combination wherein which the iron content, the quantity of iron will be more, and wherein which in non-ferrous the quantity of iron is very very less, wherein which the other materials property will be more. So copper alloys, nickel alloy, and aluminium alloys. So ferrous, iron as a main constituent. So that is the ferrous material. So when which the ferrous in ferrous material, if you take the iron content will be more. That is, for example, 80% iron would be there and 20% non-iron material would be there. And non-ferrous other than iron as a main constituent. That means iron is not a main constituent or main property, wherein which other materials will be the main property and iron will be like a sidekick. Or steel, carbon less than 2%. So for steel, carbon less than 2%, and cast iron, carbon more than 2%. So these are the properties you could see. Copper alloy is nothing but copper as a main content. Okay. And aluminium alloy, aluminium as a main content. A nickel alloy, nickel as a main content. So where in which copper, aluminium, nickel comes under this non-ferrous material, wherein which the copper, aluminium, nickel will be the main content in the particular material. Next one is polymer. The word polymer means, poly means many and mer means unit parts. So polymer means many parts or many units. So monomers, polymerization, and polymers. So basically if you take polymer, it's nothing but the plastic that we regularly see in our daily life. So there are three types of polymers. That is, first one is thermoplastic polymers. So you could see that polymers, it could be a small granules will be available, wherein which these granules will be poured into a injection molding or a blow molding, or different type of moldings are there, right? So when they put this polymer granules what happens, it goes into the hover, it goes to the conveyor, and once it get into the main body, there will be a rolling belt will be there, it will be rotating. So when it rotates, there will be heat plates will be there, so when heat will be produced. So when this polymer granule, the plastic granules get into that particular area, it starts to melt and it becomes plastic. So when it becomes plastic, what happens is it has been melted and it's been injected to a particular mold which is being given. So it melts according to the particular mold. So that is the polymer. Okay. So thermoplastic polymers, a thermoplastic or a thermo-softening plastic is a plastic material that becomes liable, moldable above a specific temperature and solidifies upon cooling. So thermoplastics may be reshaped by heating, temperature and solidified upon cooling. So basically what is happening is substance which lose their rigidity whenever they are heated, so that they can be molded under pressure with a new shape being retained on cooling. So when thermoplastics are heated, they become softer and less stiff until they become viscous liquid. On cooling, the original property returns. So basically what this thermoplastic will do is, whenever you heat this thermoplastic, it will lose its rigidity as well as it will lose its shape. Upon cooling, it regains the shape. So whenever you required, you can heat this plastic and you can reshape it as you want. So that is the main advantage of thermoplastic polymer. So whenever you are required, you can reshape it. So for example, if you take a mug, okay, if you take a mug, it's a plastic, it's a thermoplastic, wherein which you can melt it again and you can make it into a different shape. So that is a thermoplastic. Okay. So these are the examples. You could see there are so many things are there, wherein which if you melt it again, you can make it into a reshape it. So these are the thermoplastics. Next one is thermosetting polymers. So thermosetting polymers have their chains cross-linked by covalent bonds. So what is covalent bond? Covalent bond is nothing but, it is also called as a molecular bond. So it is a chemical bond that involves the sharing of electron pairs between the atoms. So basically they share the electrons between two atoms. If there are two atoms, these two atoms will share the electrons. These electron pairs are also known as shared pairs or bonding pairs, and the stable balance of attractive and repulsive forces between atoms. So when they share electrons is known as covalent bond. So the main thing is sharing of electrons between two atoms is called as covalent bond. So this is a covalent bond. Okay. So the starting material are placed into a mold to form the desired shape. So if I want to explain it in a clear way, I can tell you that substance which undergoes a definite chemical change during the molding process, causing them to become permanently rigid and incapable of being softened again. This process is not reversible. So thermosetting plastic is nothing but you can melt this plastic when it is on a granule stage. So when it is in a granule stage, you can melt it and you can make it into a particular shape. Once it has been rigid, once it has been cooled, it cannot be remelted or it cannot be reversed. It cannot be reversed. The process cannot be reversed, so that you cannot melt this plastic and you cannot acquire a different shape. So upon cooling, it becomes rigid and it has become a permanent shape is acquired when it has been cooled. So this is a thermostatic plastic. The process is irreversible. So once it has been heated, it's melted. Once it has been given a shape, it cannot be reversed to again acquire a new shape. So that is called a thermosetting polymers. So the materials are placed into a mold to form the desired shape. So the polymers is then heated or initiated with a UV light, and chemical reaction occurs to form the cross links between the chains. So the resulting three-dimensional solid structures cannot then be changed. Further heating will not cause the polymer to soften. So that is what I was saying. So once you get the shape, even if you try to heat it also, you cannot get the you cannot get it into a liquid state, so it cannot be reshaped. Okay, that is the thermosetting polymers. The next one is thermosetting polymers. So this the picture shows a typical structure of a thermosetting polymers. The red lines represent the cross links between the chains. So this is the red line, that is the cross links, that is a linked with the chain. So that is the reason even if you melt it also you cannot make it into a different shape. For example, epoxy resins used as a coating material, caulks, manufacturer of insulating materials, etc. So phenolic resins, tool handles, billiard balls, sprockets, insulations, etc. So you see billiard balls and all, it's a plastic material. So once it has been gained a shape, it cannot be melted again or it cannot be reshaped. Even if you melt also, you cannot get a reshape. So unsaturated polyester resins, manufacturer of plastic reinforced fiberglass commonly known as polyester fillers, example. So when you take this bikes and all, if you take a Yamaha bike, the fittings that you get on the side is a fiber material. So that's a plastic. So it is thermostatic plastic. So it's a lightweight, right? So if you melt it also, it will not be melting. So you will lose the material. So if you cannot get it, you cannot melt it and you cannot make it into, you cannot reshape it. So elastomers. So elastomers is a material or those materials that are made of polymers that are joined by chemical bonds acquiring a final slightly cross-linked structure. So in a brief way, if I want to explain is substance which are characteristics by very high elasticity but a very low modulus of elasticity and the capacity for very large rapidly recoverable deformation, for example rubber band. So this elastomers is nothing but the material will be having a high elastic property wherein which if you stretch it, it will elast, and once if you leave it, it again comes back to its original position. So deformation happens, so the recovered deformation will happen. So these are examples. So if you take a rubber, this is a suit. So this is a suit made with rubber. So when you take how many of like tires, and these are the rubber boots. So these are the materials that is being used. Wherein which elastomers, the material, its example, or rubber is a good example of elastomers. So natural rubber, material used in the manufacturing of gasket, shoe heel. So these are the natural rubbers. Polyurethanes. Polyurethanes are used in the textile industry for the manufacture of elastic clothing such as lycra, also used as a foam wheel, etc. So see, if you how many of you watched Spider-Man movie? So the Spider-Man movie, the dress is very elastic, right? So when you wear the dress, it sticks to your body as your shape of the body, right? So that is the polyurethanes. So polybutadiene. Elastomers materials used on the wheels or tires of the vehicle given extraordinary wear resistance. So this is the elastomers that is actually used in the wheels. So in the car, bikes and all, they use this material. And neoprene material used primarily in the manufacture of wetsuits is also called as wire insulation industry, belts, etc. So wetsuits is nothing but people who used to dive in the water, right, in the ocean, they use this material. Silicon material used in a wide range of materials and areas due to their excellent thermal and chemical resistance. Silicones are used in the manufacture of pacifiers, medical prosthetics, lubricants, modes, etc. So these are the next on silicon material. So this is a thermoplastic, elastomers and thermoset plastic. See the bonding, how it happens. So this is a thermoplastic and this is a thermosetting plastic. See, this is a linked chain. Because of the linked chain, it is it's very difficult for the iron remolding shape. This thermoplastic doesn't have a linking cross-linked chain, so it can be melted as one. So with this, we have come to a conclusion that we have discussed about the various types of engineering materials, as well as we also studied about the properties of the materials. So reference books you can understand. These are the reference books. You can see it. You can just check it out for your reference. So thank you guys. Thank you for listening to the lecture one, as types of engineering material part one. So I hope you guys this video could have been helpful, and we will cover the next topic in the next video. So please go to this video and please go to the reference book so that it might be helpful for you in the future, and any doubts you can contact us. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.